Hey guys, welcome back to Cinetopical. I'm Nate, and this is Over or Under for Modern Classics.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Man, overrated. It is an overrated movie.
That's right, I said it.
That is a movie that gets a lot of extra bump in people's minds just because of the nostalgia, the time frame it came out. I get that for the time frame it came out, it did a lot of things that movies hadn't done yet. I love the concept that instead of the alien being the bad guy, it is just, ended up being the kid's buddy. It's a really good movie, and I had some feels that even made me, I cried at one point in E.T. It was very good. It's just not as good as everyone makes it out to be. It is a product of its decade, and it's overrated.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future is overrated extraordinarily.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
I feel similarly about it that I feel about E.T. I think it is a product of its time. I feel like people give it more points just because of the era and the nostalgia connected to that time frame. Zemeckis is an excellent filmmaker. I feel like he in himself is a little overrated. But my problems with Back to the Future are it is a really good movie, but it is not as good as everyone says it is, which is the definition of being overrated. And everything that everyone says they love about that movie, I can see it in the movie, but I don't understand why they think that it's necessarily so great. It's really, really fun. It definitely has a sense of adventure to it. Marty McFly is an idiot. He's stupid. There's nothing enjoyable about that character to me. He just makes really dumb decisions the whole time. He's just this wacky, mindless teenager that doesn't have any real problem-solving skills to him at all. And Doc Brown is a psychopath. He is. He's really fun to watch, but for someone who is so insanely smart, there's definitely something going on underneath the covers in that dude's head, and it is not something you want to walk in on.
Do not let go of my hand. I'll never let go.
Overrated.
I guess.
It's way too freaking long. James Cameron is a really, really good filmmaker, but I think that sometimes when his name gets attached to something, people just assume that it's going to be good. Looking at you, Avatar. I'm not saying that Titanic is as bad as Avatar. It's a good movie. It's a really good love story. I like Titanic, but it is too long. It drags at some points. It's too slow. It gives us way more than we needed. You could have condensed it, and I think ended up making it a more compelling story. I think that parts of it are a little overacted on Kate Winslet's part, and they both could have fit on the door.
The Terminator.
I'm going to go underrated. Facts! I hear a lot more about Terminator 2 than I hear about the first Terminator, and I personally like the first one more. I think you can make a really solid argument that the first Terminator is a horror film. They're constantly being chased by this menacing, terrifying thing. T2 is very good, but I feel like T2 overshadows the first one, and a lot of people forget that you don't get T2 without the first one setting everything up, and it just has a completely different tone at the same time. They're getting chased by the T-1000 in the other one, and Arnie's a good guy now, and you get the sick thumbs up at the end, but I feel like he's more menacing, obviously, in the first one, because he's the bad guy and not the good guy, but the fact that we get the introduction... the fact that we get the introduction to the Connor family and all that kind of stuff. I feel like the first one is extraordinarily well filmed. I don't think there's anything that I saw in that I was like, that's just too goofy even for an action movie. I really, really love the first Terminator. I think it's underrated.
It was a glorious time.
Overrated.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man.
It is a really good movie, but my problem with a lot of gangster movies, which is my problem with Goodfellas, is that people watch those movies and for some reason end up celebrating the gangster lifestyle because of them. But his whole life was jacked up because of the decisions that he made. It doesn't make sense that we watch that and say, I want to live a life like that. Those guys are awesome. They're so cool. It's no, they made stupid decisions and they got stupid results in life because of it. I'm sick and tired of movies about people like that coming out and people deciding that they want to be like them, when the whole point of those movies is really, this is how interesting it is, but also this is why it's bad. And I refuse to give something a higher rating when it just celebrates a terrible lifestyle that ultimately harms other people. I'm going to go perfectly rated on that one. It is right where it needs to be. It and Aladdin are what I hear, and Beauty and the Beast are always kind of interchangeable for people's top 3 Disney, not Pixar movies. And it should be up there. It's a really good movie. I'm actually in the middle of watching it right now for the umpteenth time. The story flows really well. I think the story flows better in it than it flows in a lot of Disney movies, and it's a really good retelling of a Shakespearean theme.
That's damn right.
I'm actually going to go a little overrated.
It's debatable.
Not much overrated. It's still an excellent movie. It makes a lot of people's top movies of all time lists. It just didn't quite hit me with the emotional impact that I think it hit a lot of people with, so I'm going to go a little bit overrated for that reason. I think it's a perfectly rated movie. It is often considered, and should be considered, the best superhero movie of all time. They nailed the dark and grittiness of it. It's not a perfect movie, but I don't think that I've ever heard anyone claim that it was. I'm going to say it's perfectly rated.
SHREK. I just know before this.
I'm definitely going to go a little overrated on that one.
What that mean?
SHREK got blown up because of all the internet memes. SHREK is love. SHREK is life. Personally, I think that's stupid and a little idiotic.
Somewhat.
At me. I don't care. It's still a good movie. It's hilarious. Definitely. I mean, it is one of the best animated movies of all times. I wouldn't even argue that. It wouldn't make my top 5 list, but it is definitely overrated.
Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl.
I think that movie is a little underrated.
What made you say that?
The reason I think it's underrated is A, it introduced us to one of the coolest movie characters of all time in Captain Jack Sparrow. He is super sly, super hilarious. He's such a smartass. You can't catch him. It's a really great character. It got ruined by almost everything that came after it. The second one and the third one were not bad movies, but the plot just got way too convoluted. And with the first one, they realized that they had such a gem in Jack Sparrow's character. They just start trying to throw him in your face a little bit. So as a whole, across the franchise, they have definitely tarnished the character's name. But looking at Curse of the Black Pearl as an isolated movie, and what we got out of Johnny Depp's character in that first film is absolutely astounding. He was perfect for that role, and he was so much fun to watch. And people end up kind of forgetting about that one and giving it a bad rap because of the absolute shite that came after it. That one's tough. I'm going to ultimately say overrated.
Really?
Most people, well, first of all, I'm not even going to pretend that the fourth one exists. Obviously, it does exist. Out of the original Indiana Jones trilogy, Temple of Doom is definitely the weakest. I think most people would agree with that, but there are still people that don't, and it doesn't fit the tone of the other two. I like the fact that it technically takes place first in the trilogy as far as time frame goes. So maybe we can make some arguments that Indy hadn't developed into who he would become later, but there are just parts of that movie that are just like, they're just not for me. It's a little too over the top in some areas. Short Round is hilarious, but he just really gets on my nerves sometimes. I think that movie is just a touch overrated, but still part of one of the best trilogies in movie history.
Return of the Jedi.
That movie is underrated.
Damn, bitch, was just a lightsaber?
A lot of people like to give that movie shit because Ewoks and stuff. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why people hate on them so much. Like any other race in the Star Wars universe, like they just exist with purpose. Like, I don't know why people hate them so much. I really don't understand. I accept the argument that Han Solo is not quite as Han Solo in this movie as he is in other ones, but he's softening up. Like, he's been through some stuff. he fell in love, and I could definitely attest to the fact that love changes people in some crazy ways. Do I like OG Han, like more of your sarcastic hard ass more? I do, but it's also nice to see that people's hearts can change. This has been Nate from Cinetopical. Thanks for watching my over and under based on modern classic movies. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think down below. What is a modern movie that you love, a modern classic that is, that you love, that you think is overrated or underrated? Subscribe, like, comment. We'll see y'all next time.